Hey guys, what's going on? Thanks for joining me today. I'm Mark, this is Spiguyver Backpacking, and today we're going to talk about gear failures. Out on the trail, gear failures happen. We're rough on our gear. Backpacking, the dirt, the grime, trees, if you're doing any bushwhacking, you know, just brush and stuff rubbing up against you, having your tent on the ground, laying in your hammock, your dirty body, your salty sweat, just kind of on everything. It takes a toll on your gear. Everyone, from time to time, is going to experience some sort of gear failure out on the trail. One of the key things, though, to remember is it's not about the gear that fails. To me, it's a lot more about how the company responds when you approach them with that gear failure. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Let's go. So I've got with me today a couple of pieces of gear that failed on me to some degree while out on the white trip. So we were out on the AT, we spent 8 days out there, and at some point along the trail I had gear failures. I actually had two specific gear failures that we're going to talk about today. So the first one involves the shoes that I was wearing. So I was wearing the Merrell Trail Glove 4 Knit. I showed these, I showed you guys what they look like, how they work, talked a little bit about them while I was out on the trail on day 3. So day 3, which was the day that I actually ended up injuring my knee, was the day that I had a little discussion about shoes and what people are using on the trail. I really liked what I was using, but I did end up having some problems. And to be completely honest, I had one problem with the shoes before I even hit the trail. So let's take a look at the shoes and we'll talk a little bit about them. Okay, so this is the shoe. This is the Knit. Now, the way it looks right now, there is a really good explanation for this slit across the toes and this entire piece missing right here. And that's that I contacted Merrell, who makes these, and explained what had happened. And they said, destroy those and we will send you a new pair. So that's what I did. They asked me to cut it across the toe and to cut out a section where the tag was, and so that's exactly what I did. Now, I said that I had some issues prior to starting the trail. So those issues are because of this lace retention system. So this lace retention system is very tough. It's like a nylon, like a hard plastic nylon. And it's pretty abrasive. So my laces going through here ended up getting abraded, and one of my laces actually tore before the start of the trip. So I got some heavier duty laces to go through here, and that fixed it. Didn't have any problems with that on the trip. But what I did have was, because I got heavier duty laces, the laces that I got actually started to wear through this nylon, and you can see here I had to apply some tape. So I put a little bit of duct tape on there, and that fixed that problem. Now the second problem that I had with these is right on this side, still with the lace retention system, but I don't know if it's from rocks rubbing, coming up where my foot kind of pushed out beyond the sole, which kind of goes in right here. But you can see right here, this completely ripped and tore. And so, I mean, you can hear, this is just like a harder plasticky nylon, and it just doesn't bend and go with it. It just, it's kind of abrasive and kind of nasty. And so yeah, you can see it just kind of tore right there, and I'm not sure how much more it would stand throughout. I don't know if it would have ripped in more spots, but that's what had happened right here while I was out on the white strip. So those were the issues. So my only main issues with this entire shoe is this lace retention system. It's just not the same as what's on the rest of the Merrell trail gloves. So the Trail Glove 4s have like a fabric, and it's not this hard plasticky nylon that becomes abrasive. But like I said, they did do me right in exchange. So one of the things I do want to say about this shoe is it was extremely comfortable. So much so that I tried to order a new pair when they were doing the refund on these, but they were out of stock. And so I bought the Trail Glove 4, just the normal one, and noticed that the lace retention system on that one is a fabric. And I will be doing a review on both of these, a full review, to let you know what I thought. But as far as failures on the trail, this ripping, the way that it was wearing through the laces, and then the way that the replacement laces were wearing through the retention system, I hope that Merrell takes my comments seriously. I talked with their customer service people, sent them pictures, sent them a lot of information. I hope they take it seriously and they change this, because this was the most comfortable shoe I've ever worn on the trail. Just this entire knit system acts like a gaiter around your foot, so rocks, debris doesn't get inside of the shoe. And I really enjoyed it. Very flexible, very nice minimalist shoe, zero drop. Nice Vibram sole that sticks really well, but this lace retention system just isn't working. There's a little bit of wear on these ones, but this one over here that I've got the tape on was just about to wear through, and then you can see that it did break on the side. So gear failure number one. However, the company stood behind their product, and not only do I now have 2 pairs of trail gloves, I also have a pair of vapor gloves, which are even lighter, even smaller, more minimalist, and I'm using them anytime I'm walking around here on the paved trails. So Merrell Trail Glove 4 knit. I would at this point advise staying away from them because of this lace retention system. Once they get that changed, they update it, absolutely recommend them 100%. So let's move on to the next item that I had that failed on the trail. Okay, so one of the most important things out on any trail, out on any backpacking trip, is clean water. And if you lose the ability to effectively get clean water, it could put you in a really tough, dangerous situation, unless you want to take the time to boil your water prior to drinking it. So I was using the Cnoc, and that's how they say on the website how to pronounce it. It's not Cnoc, it's Cnoc. And it comes from an Irish Gaelic term, I believe. But anyway, so this Cnoc Vecto 2-liter, patent pending, made in China, designed on the trail. It's a little bit stretchy. I've seen a lot of people using these, and I bought it. This is actually a replacement that they sent me. So what happened out on the trail was I've got my Sawyer Squeeze, which I'm using to filter my water, and it screws right onto these threads. No problem, right? Well, on my last one, it did not make a good seal. It had nothing to do with the filter. It's got the O-ring in there. I made sure the O-ring was clean, took it out, cleaned it, put it back in, tried screwing it on different tightnesses, you know, just till you get a little bit of resistance is where you're supposed to do it. But I was tightening it down, I was trying everything I could, and I was having a lot of water leaking around the sides. Now, if I was to just hold it straight up and down and filter, that leaking water will go down the side of the filter and end up in my clean water. I don't want that. So what I was having to do was filter it kind of sideways, and I would hold my hand kind of as an O-ring water break around my filter so that it would hit my hand. It would either drip off the side of the bag down here, or it would hit my hand and drip down. So that was a little bit, that kind of sucked. But worse than that, on day 4, as we were going up to we were passing Liberty Campground, heading up to Franconia Ridge, when I went to filter water, I noticed that right up in this area there was a pinhole that somehow had developed. Now, I don't keep this anywhere where it could have been abraded on anything. It's kept inside of a pocket on the outside of my bag. It rolls up really nice and small, and so it was just in there. The only thing it was in there with was my filter and a smart water bottle. So nothing sharp, nothing that could have punctured it, and yet I ended up with a pinhole. I contacted the company. They immediately sent me a new one, and so they stood behind their product, and that's all you can ask of a company. Yes, it sucks that there are gear failures out there. You want your gear to be reliable and be rugged. I've seen a lot of people test this bag. I've seen people standing on the bag. I've even seen people jumping on the bag with no issues. I have not heard of very many. I did some searches. I know that there used to be some threading issues on these, but they did redesign them, and now they've been shipping them, and I have not heard many people with any problems whatsoever on them. So I'm thinking that it was just a fluke. I got a bad one. Something was weak with the material right there. They stood behind their product, got me a new one. And let me just put this out there. Neither of these two companies knew anything about this YouTube channel. I did not use that to try and persuade them to give me a new one or to replace it. I simply contacted them as a consumer. I bought both of these pieces of gear with my own money. They weren't sent to me for testing. They weren't free products. They weren't something I won somewhere. They were actually purchased by me with real money. And so I reached out to the companies and said, hey, I had a failure with your gear. I was out on this trip. This happened. What can you do about it? Here are some photos. And every time, both of the companies got back to me, apologized for the inconvenience, apologized for the problems, and immediately set out to resolve the issue. And that's all you can ask for with a gear manufacturer. There will be gear failures. Everything out there fails at some point. It's how those vendors, how those manufacturers respond to that really tells you whether or not they're a company you want to continue to do business with, you want to support their products, you want to use their products. If they're not going to stand behind their products, there's probably a reason for that. Guys, gear failures happen. It's a fact of life. They're going to keep happening. Contact the company. Let them know what's going on, and then let us know how that transaction went. If you've had experiences out there with gear failures, down below in the comments, let us know about them, share them, so that we can get a conversation going about pieces of gear, ones to stay away from because of horrible customer service, bad products, or on the opposite side, those ones where it's been an awesome, pleasant experience dealing with the manufacturers, you've gotten taken care of, and a quality product has been delivered for a while. I want to know about that. We want to know about that. Share it down below. Guys, if you haven't before, go down to the corner, click that subscribe button, like this channel, watch these videos, share them with your friends. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I will see you down the trail. Thanks.